safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to another incredible safari. There is a crested barbet, and of course you all know that this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live. Good morning and welcome again to a beautiful sunrise safari. Unfortunately, we are lacking the sunrise today. It is very overcast and humid. Now, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me this morning, I've got Zander, aka Eggsy. No one really calls him Zander anymore. He's got a new name, but look what I have for you first thing, which I found in my vehicle. Have a look at these little critters over here. Aren't they beautiful? Now have a look when they get right up close as to how stunning the antennae are of these two moths. They are beautiful and feathered. Can you see that? Particularly this one that we're looking at now. Now, unfortunately, I can't tell you which species of moth they are. This one I'm definitely not sure, but I just love that almost beautiful orange feathery antenna that they've got. And those antennas act as almost scent receptors, I suppose you could call them. It's a very, very hairy moth. But let's have a look at the next one, contender number 2. Now, to me, this looks like one of the hawk moths. I'm not sure which one, but it looks a little bit similar to a hawk moth. And beautiful, lovely red hairs covering the body with a not so impressive antenna like the other one. Isn't that amazing? Now, I found these in my vehicle this morning. There was another one that Eggsy described. It looked like a dragon, so you can imagine how impressive that little moth was. But unfortunately, it decided not to stick around this morning to start the show. And I'm going to see how long I can keep these moths for. They're just going to sit now on the dashboard, and we're going to carry on driving. And if they decide to fly off, well, great. If not, well, then perhaps we'll eat them. No, I don't know if I'll eat them. I think I prefer eggs Benedict for breakfast rather than the moths. But for some people in Africa, moths are a very important part of their diet. Can you believe it? Have a look at that one moving on the left. It's beautiful the way it sort of just twitched there. Now, you're probably thinking that's bizarre that people eat moths. Now, particularly the moth larvae contains quite a few nutrients, and they reckon that 100 grams of moth larvae, or moths, a combination of the two, whichever you prefer, is enough to sustain you for one day. It has all the various nutrients of magnesium, calcium, iron, and all those delicious things that you need to keep you nice and healthy. So don't ever overlook a moth again, because if you're starving, well, you can always eat them. Maybe fry them up in some butter, something delicious. I'm not going to try that though. Or maybe we'll leave it for Steph, who we know likes to eat all sorts of interesting things. Kirsty actually just said to me now that she's quite excited to try them. So Kirsty, don't worry, I'll keep them for you. And I'll give you a little fry up, maybe a little bit of garlic for breakfast. Right, now, my plan this morning is to follow up on my favorite lions in the whole wide world, the Nkuhumas. Seeing as though they didn't catch anything for us while we were watching them last night, perhaps they went on a little patrol in search of some dinner. And that's going to be quite exciting. So we're slowly making our way towards the northeastern boundary to have a little look around and see if we can find anything there. I'm just going to pop my head over and check for some tracks, just to see if they haven't come down here. We know what those Nkuhumas are like when they pick up on the scent of the buffalo. My goodness, well, then it can be quite difficult to find them. And speaking of a lion's breakfast, it seems as though Byron has found one already.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome again on Safari Live. Great to have you with us. Yes, I have indeed found something that lions enjoy feeding on, and recently they've actually killed a lot of buffalo. We've just found a small herd of buffalo. I'm actually not too sure. They seem to be spread out quite a bit through this thicket. And with me on camera this morning, we've got Brian and the Thumb. morning Brian, and Monday morning Thumb, very formal in his tie and suit. So a happy Monday morning to everybody. Great to have you with us, as I said. And we are in search of leopard this morning. So and good morning, James. And James has just sent us a question. And James would like to know if it rained at all last night. No, James, no rain yet. And again, it seems to be building. There's quite a bit of cloud cover this morning, but it doesn't appear as if it's any chance of rain. There's no rain clouds, just very overcast. But I'm hoping that it will most likely get very hot again later today, and that will then build up, and hopefully we have some rain very soon. Now I can hear buffalo all over, so it must be this herd that's been hanging around on Djuma for the last few days that we've seen, and I think it's probably buffalo from this herd that the lions have been hunting, because some of them have been younger buffalo and females. And that's usually what you find in herds. You can hear red-chested cuckoo calling quite a bit this morning in the distance. I think it's a little too far for you to hear. And I know a lot of our birding fans and birding viewers have been wanting to see a cuckoo. It's always quite difficult, but I'd love to show you one. So we'll keep an eye out for that too. You can see these buffalo looking a little thin. Some of them, you may be able to see some of the rib cages, especially on that one that's moving through there. You can see the rib cage standing out a little bit, and that's because of this drought that we've had. There hasn't been a lot of food, and buffalo are bulk feeders, so they need to constantly feed and look for good nutritious grass. At the moment, I think one of the reasons why they're hanging around in this area so much is because we've got a little bit of greenery pushing through, some green shoots that have just come through after the little bit of rain that we've had, and that is most likely what they're feeding on. It was so interesting. Recently I saw a bunch of buffalo feeding, actually browsing, so feeding off leaves of trees in dry riverbeds. And you know, the riverbeds still hold quite a lot of moisture and underground water, so the vegetation is still quite lush and green. And these buffalo would go down and feed on these leaves, which is unusual because they are generally considered to be grazers, which means they only eat grass. But it just shows you how animals will adapt depending on the time of year and when they need to. It seems to be moving off a little bit now. We're going to continue. We're heading towards one of the cut lines, and there was reports of a leopard that was seen last night by another vehicle, a big male leopard known as Mvula. I'm sure a lot of our viewers know him. He has been seen in this area before many times, and they said he was moving around scent marking quite a bit. That's great, but I'm also a little worried because that just means that he's possibly moved a great distance during the evening, trying to scent mark his territory. Male leopard territories can be very, very large. So, but we're going to try our best. We're going to hopefully see if we can find any tracks, and we'll see what we can come up with. I'm just going to check this intersection quickly. A lot of these intersections are great to have a look at because animals often use these roads as pathways. It's just an easy route for them to get from one area to another, and they'll often use boundary roads as territories or as territory boundaries. While we have a look here, let's see if Taylor's got an update on those lions she was looking for.
And of course, to start the day, we've stumbled across a herd of elephants with the tiniest little baby again. I think it's the same herd of elephants we saw yesterday. Now they're coming through very quickly. Something has startled them. Look at them, they're now running. I'm not going to go in front of them. We're going to let them run past us. You can see them moving very quickly now. This is quite interesting. I wonder if it's not because of the thunder that's rumbling in the distance. But we don't want to get in the way of this beautiful herd of elephants that's now coming through here. So we're just going to stick behind them for a change. And we're going to watch their bums as they pass across the road. But isn't this incredible? I mean, there must be about 30 or 40 elephants in this herd. And you can see kicking up lots and lots of dust as they run away. I think it is because of the rumbling of the thunder. If it was something perhaps like the lions, sorry, I think there would have been a lot more trumpeting involved, and we've seen this on a number of occasions. Now, like I said, we're not going to follow this herd because they've clearly showed us that they're very upset about something, even though they weren't having their ears flared or trumpeting at us or doing any of those things. If they do start to stampede, the last thing you want to do is get stuck in and amongst them. So we will let them be and we will carry on. Perhaps we come across them a little bit later when they've settled down a little bit. But now we're going to carry on looking for the footprints of the Nkuhumas. Let me just have a little look here. Whose footprint is this? And I've just got to check very carefully because I don't want to miss any tracks this morning. No, it looks like a hyena was walking here. It's quite difficult to tell, and that's what happens occasionally is you'll have something put its foot down first, and then you get an array of animals walking over the top of that, which creates quite an interesting track. Ah, okay, well, it seems as though Byron has beat me to it this morning. Let's go and see what he's got for you.
Well, we haven't found a leopard, but we found 3 beautiful lions. A male and these 2 females. Watch, they're playing. This is great. I'm going to turn around quickly. Let's follow them. So as we got to that junction, we were having a look for tracks. I was about to get out the vehicle, looked up the road, and these lions were lying right in the middle of the road. That is fantastic. Oh, they seem to be crossing our boundary though. We're on the Cheetah cut line. This is the road that we're on at the moment. Let's see, I'm just going to stop over here quickly. Watch. Oh, look at that. These 2 seem very playful this morning. That's wonderful. And there's the big male. Oh, wonderful. That is lovely. What a bit of luck this morning. Let's keep going. Try to stay with them. I want to see those lionesses playing again. So that's why often people always ask, why do we go out so early in the morning? And this is one of the reasons, because these animals are still very active. It's nice and cool, it's not too hot. So a lot of the predators, like lion and leopard, are active fairly early in the morning, moving around, scent marking, potentially hunting. They generally are nocturnal, so they'll be far more active at night. Hang on a second, let's see if we can get another view of them. As I said, they're crossing our boundary at the moment, heading in an easterly direction. Let's just see, maybe get another glimpse of them. I might have them coming out onto this road. Yep, they're on their way. So as I was saying, it really is great to get or to find animals like this early in the morning while they are still active. And Dina has asked us a question. Dina would like to know, are these lionesses perhaps, here comes another one across the road. There we go. Dina would like to know, are these lionesses perhaps trying to get away from the male or lose the male? And oh, look at the buffalo running. They've obviously smelled something. Oh, this could be very interesting, everyone. These buffalo are running in the direction of these lions now. And I don't know what startled those buffalo. Perhaps they picked up on the scent of the lions, but these lions are now heading in their direction. So we're going to sit tight and have a look and see. Maybe we have some action this morning. Dina, just getting back to your question about whether or not those lionesses are trying to lose the male. I'm not too sure. I don't think so. Occasionally lionesses may try and move away from a male, but I think perhaps these lionesses are just trying to hunt. And while they're moving, this male knows that there's a good chance of having a free meal if these lionesses are successful, so he's possibly just trying to stay with them. I know usually if lionesses have cubs, then they may, especially young cubs, they may try and move away from the males because they are a little bit nervous. Just going to try to see where these lions, the brakes. Just going to try to see where these lions are moving. We've lost them now, but I'm going to sit with this buffalo herd. While I do that, Taylor's got the rest of the pride.
Just as I left you, I came round the corner, and here they were sitting, waiting patiently. It's like they knew exactly where I was going to drive and look for them this morning. Now, I've got 1, 2, 3 of the lionesses, and I think I've got all the cubs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, all 8 cubs are accounted for and present. Now, they're starting to walk in front of my vehicle, as you can see me ducking, trying to get out of the view. And the lionesses definitely look a little bit on the hungry side. So I know there's going to be I think there's going to be quite a bit of action this morning. Hopefully they'll pick up the scent of some buffalo. There have been quite a few footprints of the buffalo around this area. So that's going to be quite exciting. We'll just let them walk past us. And of course we've got 3 cubs that have decided they're not quite ready to move just yet. I'm also going to have to just update the sighting every now and then on the radio, just to let the other guides know. Now, it's a beautiful, cool day for them to keep moving and perhaps look for something to eat. They won't expend too much energy if they do attempt to make a hunt. Here we go, all greeting each other, rubbing heads. It's always quite sweet to see. Now, before I move, I'll just wait for the 2 that are still fast asleep, the 2 little cubs, to get up and come this way. We'll just quickly update and let everybody know that's what's happening. 3 Nkuhuma lionesses and all 8 cubs who are at Drakensberg Central Junction. They seem to be moving in more of a northerly direction. It's just myself here. There we go. The other 2 have decided to wake up and are coming back. Last mobile, go again. They're up and down. They're moving into the block now just west of Drakensberg Central Junction. Sorry, I'm just letting everybody know what's going on because we don't want these lions to cross out. We obviously want to try and get everybody to come through and have a look. Here we go. Now we've still got one little cub that's been left behind that is showing no interest in looking, and you can see that there's a concerned female staring back in the distance, sort of going, "Oi, you better get a move on. This was not our plan this morning to rest. We need to catch some breakfast." You can see that lioness is looking very impatient. I would be quite nervous if that was that cub, because if my mother gave me that stare, I'd only know that I'd be in trouble. Right, let's very quickly go back to Byron and see how it's all going on down there.
Oh my word, look at this everyone, these lions just managed to catch a young calf. This is incredible. We did it, we couldn't see them for a second, and we caught a glimpse of one lioness stalking the herd. Remember I said these buffalo had moved almost directly straight towards the lionesses or the lions, and the next thing we heard them running, caught a glimpse of a lioness, and we just heard the distress call from the buffalo. We've driven in here now on this, and they've managed to pull down this young buffalo. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Watch how that male has got a chokehold on the buffalo, trying to suffocate it and also prevent it from calling, because usually what happens if that buffalo gives off the distress call, the rest of the herd will come back and try and help it. Oh, that was incredibly quick. Literally from seeing the buffalo running to these lions moving into the area, it was incredibly fast. Must have been 2 minutes, 3 minutes. This isn't always easy to see, but we need to remember this is nature, and these animals do need to eat. And as you were saying, the lions are doing very well with hunting buffalo at the moment, and these lionesses are quite fortunate to have this male around, because he's really powerful and able to help hold and kill this buffalo. The other lioness is just off to the right, and she's actually watching the rest of the herd. Can see the herd in the distance. See how she's poised and focused. Now, probably almost 100 meters ahead of her, the rest of the herd is right there. This is that male with that very nasty scar or gash around the face. Oh, doesn't look very good at all. But I do think that if he carries on eating and perhaps cleaning it, maybe the other lions clean it too, then he may heal quite quickly. These animals have the amazing ability to heal very quickly. See how that lioness is starting to feed on the rump? That's where a lot of the soft meat is. So it's easier to get a good bit of meat and get into the carcass. But that really happened so quickly. Brian and I didn't see the actual takedown. We just we could see the lions run, heard the buffalo running, and we heard the quick distress call, that very, very distinct buffalo distress call. And we drove in here quickly, and as we got here, they had already brought it down. so quick, so efficient. It was amazing. Christine just made a comment and said she wishes they could find a way to kill them faster. And Christine, I know it is sometimes difficult to watch. And it depends. Usually, I mean, smaller prey, they are able to kill a lot quicker. But it might be a little bit difficult. Maybe this male isn't really getting that chokehold right. And, but again, this is nature, and it's not always pleasant to watch, and nature can be harsh, but it is survival. It really is amazing that we're able to bring this to you live, and as we seeing it, you seeing it. This, that's what I find so fascinating about Safari Live. You watch a lot of documentaries and you see hunts and kills, and a lot of those, they take 2 to 3 years to film. This we're seeing literally right now. So, that male's getting a bit aggressive. The other lioness just took off. She's chasing the herd again. But if they're not careful, they may lose this buffalo. And it's amazing. We spoke about how opportunistic they are. Even though they've got a kill, they will still try and hunt something else. So Maria's asked, how long does it usually take for a buffalo to die? Maria, it all depends. Like I say, occasionally it can be quick, 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. If they get the correct hold, I would have thought they would have killed this younger buffalo a bit quicker. And the male's still trying to choke it, but I don't think he's got a... those lionesses are playing again. I think they'll probably return back to this carcass. So Maria, it all varies. It can vary quite a bit, but generally 5-10 minutes, sometimes longer. Depends if it's a big buffalo bull. I've seen lions though with smaller prey. And they, for example, in impala, they hunt that and they literally kill them on impact. They hit them so hard. I think it looks like this buffalo is dead now. No, she's still, oh my word. I thought it had stopped kicking there for a second. But look how powerful that male is, able to turn that buffalo almost right around. I'm surprised these lionesses haven't returned. See, and it's interesting, it's almost like they don't want to share the meal with the male, so they probably think, well, this male's going to feed here. Let's see if we can't find another buffalo and have our own kill. Wow, look, it's amazing to watch the struggle. This is incredible. Brenda's asked us a question, and why haven't the lionesses come back to help kill this buffalo perhaps a bit quicker and bite it around the nose or the mouth to suffocate it a bit quicker? Brenda, I think because they've got it down already, it's very difficult to say. I think because they've got it down, the male is on it, they know that the buffalo's got no chance of getting up and running away. So they're almost happy to start feeding or move on. Like I said, they've followed the rest of the herd now. Can't see them anymore. They've moved off through a thicket. But they probably know, well, this male has got this buffalo, so there's no need to worry too much about it. Wow, look how he's lifting that buffalo up. Incredibly powerful. As I said again earlier, you know, they're so opportunistic, even though they've got food right here, because there's still the potential chance of catching more just around the corner. Those lionesses have gone and they're trying their luck. They're going to try and see if they can't get more. Michael has asked us, and good morning to you, Michael. Michael's asked us a question about these Birmingham males, these big dominant males. Why does it seem like they don't help hunt as much, or have we just not seen it? So, Michael, you know, I mean, we didn't see this kill exactly. I think what probably happened is the lioness cornered or caught the buffalo, and as soon as they got it, the male ran in and brought it down. But I'm not too sure. We didn't see it. So in a way, they definitely help. And he's holding this buffalo down now. Perhaps those lionesses will return later. If they realize they can't hunt anymore, they might return. But he is definitely helping with the kill. I mean, he's basically doing the killing now. Not a great job, but he is responsible for it. So, and male lions generally help with the larger prey. So buffalo, giraffe, anything really big, that's what they'll help with. Whereas the lionesses, if they're hunting any antelope, they're powerful enough to bring it down and kill it themselves. So they don't need the help from the males. Also, the thing is, you need to remember these males stand out a little bit more. These big manes, a bit easier to spot. It's not always easy for them to hunt. They do hunt for themselves, though. I mean, if there are no lionesses around, they have to hunt. So they will hunt for themselves. Going to try to see if we can work out which direction those lionesses have gone. We'll stick with this male also, just to make sure he has killed it, and you never know, we could get some other lions joining. While I do that, let's get an update from Taylor and see if those lions are moving.
This is absolutely incredible. You're looking at a dead buffalo that's obviously died from natural causes a few days ago. It's wriggling with maggots, and the lions have just spotted it. We thought that they were going to walk past this, and one of the lionesses has indeed picked up on the scent and is making her way straight towards that carcass. But let's see her reaction. Oh, you are so lucky coming across a free kill like that. Now, it's very thick in there, so we will try and maneuver around. Perhaps we can go in a little closer. Let's see if we can poke our nose in through here. What do you think, Eggsy? We should fit. We fit anyway. Good old Jigger. Jigger goes where no other vehicle has ever gone before. No, I'm sure probably gone all sorts of places. Let's try and get in here, though. You're going to hear a little bit of noise, unfortunately. It's just there's a few small little branches that I'm going to drive over. I need to try and get a gap here. Right, I'm going to protect my moths. Eggsy, are you okay to go through here? I'm ducking. I just want to get a little bit further forward for you. I will sit under the trees. Can you see them, Ned? Okay, we're going to have to stop here. I'm sitting amongst the trees. Now they're investigating this carcass. I can hear a buffalo distress call. I'm just taking my earpiece out to quickly listen. thought I heard a buffalo distress calling in the distance. I'm not sure what that was, but the lions don't seem to be too impressed by this buffalo that has died. Looked like a big cow. It looks like it was a big cow, but she is very stinky. She's completely riddled with maggots, and I'm not sure what would have killed her. However, even though this carcass is fairly rotten, if the lions are hungry, they are really big scavengers, even though most people don't know this. But they will indeed feed on a rotting carcass like this. And I'm surprised that now look at the lions. They can hear something. I'm hearing a buffalo distress calling. I wonder if it's not perhaps Byron's buffalo that I'm listening to. There's a lion. The lions are listening as well. You can see them all following one of the lionesses, one by one. And it does indeed seem as though it is Byron's buffalo that's making this noise. We're going to try and keep up with the pride. It looks like that this rotting carcass is not their cup of tea this morning, and I think they are listening to the sound of the buffalo distress calling. And perhaps they're going to move that way. Now, unfortunately, I think it's just too far away for you to hear. We need to now try and get out of here. Let's try and reverse quickly and try and keep up with them. I'm just going to get out of all the trees. You can just see I'm been attacked by all these branches. See the lioness right there just watching. She doesn't want to leave, that lioness that's just in front. She's thinking what on earth is going on, wondering why. So I'm just trying to get out of here. There's lots of trees behind me. I'm just trying to go very slowly, and I don't blame her for not wanting to leave that carcass, because that is a meal. They don't know what they're hearing. They're hearing a buffalo distress calling, but they're unsure what's going on. I'm going to stop. Sorry, Eggsy. This lioness is just coming in front of us. You can see they're quite reluctant to actually leave it. They're not sure what to do. Should they follow up on that distress call, or should they stay here where they already have a meal? We will just hang back for a little bit longer and see what they decide to do. Very uncertain at this moment in time. What are you going to do? Just listening to see if I can hear that buffalo distress calling still. She's coming right past the vehicle, and of course she's quite comfortable doing this. She didn't even look at us when she walked past, so don't panic. As long as we stay seated and stay still, they're quite happy to move around us. Now let's see what they're going to do next. Come on, ladies, trust your instinct. Go towards that sound. All the birds are just starting to wake up now as well. It's actually sounding quite beautiful this morning. Now, good morning, James. You were wondering if that was perhaps the botfly larvae that we were seeing there. No, I think it was actually just from all the various flies that have attached themselves to that carcass. Remember, yesterday when we came across the buffalo carcass of the the one that the lions killed not yesterday evening, the day before that, I think we zoomed in and we had a look at all those beautiful green and blue flies. So I think it's a combination of larvae from them. I don't particularly think that it is the bot fly. I'm still hearing lots of thunder rumbling in the distance. You can see the lions are starting to move again. And Kirsty's just fed me a little response, and it seems as though you're all quite happy that the lions didn't decide to tuck into a maggot-infested buffalo. You see, they are so spoilt that they have got the right to sort of turn their nose up to a decaying buffalo. I don't blame them for preferring the fresher meat, but if they were desperate and they hadn't been as successful as they have been over the last couple of months, I can promise you that they would have dived straight into that and started eating it, regardless of how old it would be. And I'm sure once the hyenas pick up the scent of this, thank goodness we are upwind of this buffalo, so we didn't really get too bad of a smell. I'm sure the hyenas will come in and clean this up. Might be a bit difficult for the vultures to see because it's hidden in between some bushes. So I think the hyenas are going to have to take this one on. We'll just wait for the little cubs to move off a little further away, and then we will follow them again, because I'm going to have to drive over a few small logs and things, and I don't want to give them a fright. And thank goodness they're going back towards the road again, because it was going to get a little bit tricky to navigate through this bush willow, spike thorn, lots of sickle bush in here. Not a very nice thicket to go driving through. We'll wait for this last lioness to jump up and follow the rest of the gang. There she goes, and that's our cue now, so we don't lose them, to keep going. Now, the lions seem to be up and moving, and I think that they are indeed following their instincts now of heading towards the distress call. Caroline, you were wondering exactly that. I think they've only just heard those distress calls. So they need to trust their instinct here, which it seems as though that's exactly what they're doing. And we're going to follow them, and hopefully they will lead us straight towards the rest of the Nkuhumas and the Birmingham with that buffalo calf. My goodness. Sure. That looked a bit worse than it was. It was just a tree that the elephants have half pulled over. Now, we're going to quickly get back onto the road. We are coming up quite close to the boundary though. Protect my friends, the moths, they can't get injured. Not letting anything happen to Sir Gregory. Right, we've come across them again. They're just up ahead, just off the road, but that's alright. Let's stick with them for a little bit longer. I just want to check that all my tyres are still alright. Eggsy, what are the tyres looking like on that side, on your side? Good, not deflating just yet, thank goodness. I'm going to try and get ahead of these lions so we don't have to keep jumping in front of them. We'll stop here. There we go. Now you can see they're listening. I think they're definitely heading in the direction now of those distress calls. What are you going to get up to? Having a little rest again? Up and down this morning. They can't seem to make up their minds. I'm trying to figure out what on earth is going on in the lions' heads, but of course it's almost impossible to try and imagine what they are thinking. But the adults are definitely very interested in something. Just want to very quickly update the sighting on the radio. Nkuhumas are now sort of mobile back in an easterly direction. We are just north of the Drakensberg Central Junction. There's still just myself here. Just let everyone know and see. Copy. They all seem to be looking in that direction. Right. Let's see. There's a lioness that's become quite determined now on the left. Off she goes. Melinda, you're quite right in saying or asking if the cubs are getting more used to the vehicles. We actually saw it quite nicely yesterday, where the little ones, when they were sort of chased around by the elephant, they didn't mind actually seeking shelter behind our vehicle. And also when they decided to come back and regroup with the rest of the pride, there were, out of the 8, I think 4 of them walked past and were very relaxed, and there was one of the younger cubs that unfortunately was still a little bit nervous and did a little trot past us, but that's all right. It's going to just take a little bit of time, but they're definitely improving every day. And when we're with the cubs, I always try and be a little bit quiet and give them a bit of space when they're off-roading, and the adults are not concerned at all by us, so I like to sit quietly and let them come towards us. But the 2 older cubs, I've noticed, are becoming quite cheeky, and this is typical of lions. They get very curious when they sort of get to about 6 months, and then they really want to know what the vehicles are. So they come right up, they have a little sniff at the tires, and that's fine. You can sit quietly, but obviously we don't want them to learn that they can touch the vehicles in any way. That can become very dangerous, so we've sort of got to monitor that as well. But let's carry on here. And see, Ephraim has now joined us. We'll let Ephraim jump in front. So they're just coming out. They're going to come out on the road. Me. Ephraim is such a gentleman, hey? Ladies first. Thank you, sir. Let's try and catch them again. Now we're going to try and stick with them for as long as we can, of course, because I suspect that this is exactly where they're going. They're going to head to... Oh my goodness, they crossed so quickly. Look at them, they're already over there. Okay, we need to find a little spot in here. We're going to have to do some more off-roading again, but we'll get in. We'll find a good spot. I'm going to jump in front of them. Lots of fallen trees that are littered all over the place, but this looks like in a right spot. Let's go here. Right, let's go across to, Byron for an update while I try and keep the thorns out of my tires.
So, isn't this amazing? It's been a great lion morning for us, and I'm so glad Taylor's got the cubs with her. We tried to just move around and see if we could follow those lionesses. They were still following a herd of buffalo that they chased initially. They've actually, unfortunately, gone across our boundary, so we were unable to follow them any further. The male was still with that buffalo, but he had killed it. But what had happened was, we obviously had such a great sighting of all the action. We wanted to allow some of the other people in to see it too. So a few other vehicles that have gone to view that male with that buffalo. But the lionesses hadn't returned, so they might do later, but I think they were still quite intent on following the rest of that herd of buffalo. What an amazing sighting. It really was special. I think I've still got some adrenaline going through me at the moment. It was very exciting. Myself and Brian were getting so excited. Wyatt has asked a question, and it's actually an interesting question. Wyatt has asked whether during a hunt, have I ever personally rooted for the prey or supported the prey, or wanting to make sure that they get away. Wyatt, it's difficult. No, I don't think so. And I think with working in the bush permanently, and we always talk about it, and for guests coming out on safari, it's sometimes tough to see animals hunting or killing. With us as guides who see interaction like this fairly regularly. What we try and do is try and take emotion out of it. At the end of the day, we're here purely to view and appreciate wildlife and nature. We're not here to interfere. So, emotionally, it's hard sometimes, but it sounds like the Nkuhumas have
I don't know what is going on today. We're following the Nkuhumas through this block, and they have found another buffalo that's on its way out. You can see it's bleeding from its scrotum, unfortunately. What on earth has happened? So this buffalo is not getting up and going anywhere. It's obviously seriously injured by something. I don't think it was from the lions. Now they're going to try and kill it. I have this adrenaline that is pumping through my body at the moment. This is insane. I can't believe how they are just buffalo that have dropped like flies, unfortunately. I think it's got something to do with the harsh conditions. This one, of course, has sustained an injury, maybe from another buffalo. Maybe it got into a fight. I'm not 100% certain what is actually happening today, but lucky for us now, this is actually a great opportunity for these cubs. This buffalo is too far gone to get up and move. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're going to try the whole suffocating techniques. You can see them all jumping around, getting quite curious of this buffalo. Sorry, I'm just shifting. I'm sitting in a very awkward position, but this is just absolutely amazing this morning. You just never know what you are going to see around the next corner. Now, I'm sure that you're going to agree with me. The lions are going to prefer to eat this buffalo, though they seem to have a few to choose from. Where are you going? Come back. This is a live buffalo. What luck Byron and I are having this morning, and we're so happy to share this with you. Remember, we are on a live safari, so if you'd like to chat to myself and Byron, you're welcome to do so by either hashtagging Safari Live on Twitter, or you can head and send us an email, questions@WildEarth.TV. This is outstanding. Our luck today is incredible. You can see how she's lapping up the blood now. I think they're going to stay here. I think they will be very silly to pass this buffalo on. Now she's got that lovely color of ruby red on her face. My mind has finally, it's been blown. I've never seen anything like this before, where in one morning we come across one dead buffalo, and then they leave the rotting carcass, and then they come across another buffalo. Now, this is serious luck for the Nkuhumas. You can see them drinking of blood now. Now, I think it's quite strange that we've been seeing all these dead buffalo in this area, and I know, Michael, you were wondering exactly the same thing, and you were asking if it's perhaps a disease that's causing the buffalo to die, or is it just coincidence? I think it is really just a coincidence. I've never seen anything like this before, and I think that it is perhaps the harsh conditions of the drought. Remember, all the grass is now almost finished. There's very little few sprigs on the ground. And I don't think that it was enough rain in order to just get them, sort of bring them back to life, I suppose you could say. And some of these older buffalo, this does look like an older buffalo, have succumbed to the harsh conditions. But we've been seeing the lions, of course, hunting buffalo very much alive. So to come across something like this is just an absolute treat, and almost giving them the morning off. And they're very weak, the buffalo. Yeah, this looks like an old boy. Like I said, maybe he was battling it out with another buffalo and he sustained some terrible injuries that has caused him to bleed out. We can obviously see the lions lapping up something, and I can only presume that it's blood from the redness on their chin and around their mouth. So possibly lost lots of blood and then just sort of sat down and waiting to die. Look at that. Look at all the blood that buffalo has lost. You can see it pouring out. This is unbelievable. Sorry, I'm just shifting again if you see a bit of movement. You are all so lucky, and I hope you're taking lots and lots of screenshots, because I don't know when we're going to have another morning like this. This week, past week, has just been filled with amazing sightings. A poor buffalo is just sitting and awaiting its death as it lays there, getting weaker and weaker after every ounce of blood. Now come on, little cubs. Oh, a little bit scared. Not quite afraid of the vehicles anymore, but when a buffalo twitches, I don't blame them for wanting to jump out of the way. But I don't think this buffalo is going to really be able to move. I think it has lost too much blood now. I can hear the distress calls of another buffalo in the distance. So there's definitely another buffalo. It's ridiculous. I almost have to laugh at this. They know that this buffalo is not going to go anywhere, but I'm wondering if they're going to perhaps leave it. They are spoiled for food this morning. If you hear me snapping away occasionally, it's me just grabbing my little screen grabs. Let me see, the two of the lionesses are now moving out. Look at them, they're going towards the sounds of the other buffalo. And the cubs are following. This is a crazy morning, and off they go. Interesting to see. No, they're all moving off now. How bizarre. Look at them trotting away, and here goes the last lioness, leaving the buffalo that is perfectly fresh, not like the maggot-infested one we saw earlier, heading straight towards the distress calls of the other buffalo. What on earth is going on this morning? And these are the mysteries that we face every day out in the bush. And that's when you know the lions are well fed, is when they are choosing between which buffalo to go to. He's looking back now, deciding, should I go, should I stay? And of course the buffaloes. She's not leaving this carcass. Hopefully we're going to start to see an increase in the hyena activity, seeing as all these buffaloes below are dying. And something I have to and that's what I find amazing, is that we've got a dead now lioness is now trotting off. We're going to have to try and keep up with them. We have fallen quite far behind. Let's try and catch up to them. I'm just looking on my GPS where the best spot is going to be. I think it's going to be to try and get back onto the road again and beat them.
It's a very appropriate name for a group of zebra. A dazzle with these dazzling stripes of theirs. Actually, just look how well camouflaged they are already. I mean, they blend in very well into these thickets. And fortunately, we've got Brian's great camera work here, so we can see it. But from where I'm sitting, it's not that easy just to see. They are beautiful animals. Also looking for some green grass, and again in this area there's some compared to this morning, and it's actually cooled down even more so than earlier this morning, so that's good. Maybe, who knows, maybe it builds up even more and get a bit of rain. Look at that lovely morning. We're saying it's that's a black cuckoo. I'm so sad, or I'm so sick. So that's apparently, that's how the book describes it. That's not what I'm saying. The law of nature, law of attraction. So we're going to check along these roads very carefully, look for any tracks, any sign of leopard that may have been moving around during the evening or early this morning. And while I do that, let's get an update from Taylor and those lions.
I think the lions are just as confused as we are. The little ones have decided they're going to play. They're even climbing the tree. Can you see that there, Eggsy, how they're up and on the tree? Let's have a little look here. You can see they found another buff. I think the lions are just as they should go towards the distress calls. It is a bit of a tough situation for them. I don't blame them. There's so much going on. Oh, look at them going up the tree. Isn't that amazing? So the Nkuhumas like the leopards. Let's watch this one jump. Look at that one holding on for dear life there. Very uncertain and unstable in the tree, unlike the leopards. Let's watch this one jump off. Oh, that's careful. You're going to get thrown off there. I am snapping away, and I hope that you are doing the same this morning, because this is absolutely beautiful. Oh, and up they go onto the termite mound. Oh my goodness. Now they're playing King of the Castle. And off they go. Sure. Racing around this morning. It's like a bit of a blur across the screen when they go so quickly. gremlins seem to be back as well. I think that they think we are not allowed to have so much action in such a short space of time. So I do apologize, but bear with us. This sometimes happens when you are working out in the wilderness and the signal is not always too great. But keep holding on. We'll get it all sorted. Look at the lions now. Now, the other lioness is deciding to come back again. And we've got one posing on top of the termite mound. This morning, because the lions are coming from all over, they're now got keep holding on. We'll get it all sorted. Look at them walking with determination this morning. Trot, and our other lioness, who's get your cheetah cut line. Unfortunately, that's as far as. And of course, with the wonderful Nkuhumas. It is a buffalo. So snap away. Like I said, you're going to regret if you aren't taking any snapshots, because soon these cubs are going to be so big and not as fluffy when the Nkuhumas were once little. Now they've paused. I wonder if they've seen that buffalo that was out in the distance on the road. I haven't heard any more distress calls. I see buffalo running now. That's what she's seen too. I don't know if it was a calf that ran across the road. We're going to try and keep up with them though. Let's go up ahead a little bit further. So it looks like there's buffalo running up and down. It's so much action here today. Everybody's so excited. Everyone's got their cameras ready. I've got my camera ready. Eggsy's got his camera ready. We are prepared for any action. The only limitation we've got today is where we can drive, and we're right up on the boundary, of course. But now, if these buffalo are in a flat panic from being chased around by these lions, there could be potential. Are in a flat panic from being chased around by where all the buffalo are running around. The storm is moving in. I hope the volumes are turned as loud as they can go. Oh. Let this not a buffalo? No. The two other lionesses in the Birmingham, I think that has now died because we haven't heard any more distress calls. So possibly, which I'm hoping, is that the attention is now going to be drawn onto the buffalo that are up ahead, and maybe they make another kill. This is going to be amazing though. We are going to have the lions forever now, especially if it's a young calf. They'll eat the one very quickly on Torchwood and then come back across to the buffalo that are all scattered around. They're crossing. I don't know if you can see them. It's quite difficult. They're running in the distance. Now. The cub, I don't know if you can see them, it's quite difficult. Very slowly. I've had about 100 energy drinks, the amount of blood that is pumping around in my body, and that's, you can imagine what my heart feels like. I can still hear another buffalo in the far distance, but it seems as though it's quite far away from us. But I think that is the end of the Nkuhumas for us, unfortunately. They have now disappeared out of sight. A little bit further, I want to investigate these.
Or still trying to hunt. So you never know what we could potentially find. Saw some fresh elephant dung back there on the road, so having a good look around to see. No, Taylor had that big herd of elephant this morning. That's fantastic. And the whole time we're driving, keep trying to check the roads. Occasionally it is quite difficult, especially in harder patches, to see. I'm trying to think. I've had some really nice encounters with lions. I've walked into lions on a number of occasions trying to track them, and never, touch wood, I've been very fortunate. I've never been charged by a lion, not yet anyway. It still could very easily happen. What else have I seen that's been memorable? I must admit, what else have I seen that's been memorable? I must admit, these roads crossing, there's often a chance of seeing leopard tracks or any animal tracks moving through the area. So Michael, recently I had an amazing sight, and we'd followed her for a while. We knew she had cubs, and there's some elephant tracks along the road here too. So hang on. So we knew she had cubs, and we knew where the den site was. We hadn't seen the cubs yet. Some other guides in the area had, and we followed this lioness back to the den site. And we could see she'd fed recently. There were 2 lionesses, and they had 7 cubs between the 2 of them. So 3 cubs for one lioness and 4 cubs for the other. And these lionesses had killed something, so they'd fed, their bellies were full. One lioness moved back to the den site, and what had happened was then she called the cubs, and all 7 little cubs come running out this little bit of a rocky outcrop where they were hiding. Brought them out, and she took them back towards the kill. And that was their first experience out of the den site, and it was just unbelievable to see. It's the first time I've ever had that, and for me that was probably one of my most memorable lion sightings, to see these little cubs exploring the world for the first time with their mothers. It was just incredible. It really was amazing. So I'd have to say that's definitely up there with the most memorable lion sighting. We're going to continue searching along this road and around this area. I know Taylor was looking to see if those buffalo were still around, and let's see if she's found them.
We have got the panic-stricken buffaloes, which I presume for someone to respond. So quickly get typing either hashtag Safari Live or send us an email, questions@WildEarth.tv, and I'm waiting your response. Look at this cow, how she's lost a horn. So I'll wait for someone to respond. So quickly get Nkuhumas having just one horn. Could be quite dangerous for this lovely buffalo. It seems as though they're moving on now. Off they go, moving right out of the area. And it's quite typical for the buffalo to hang around. And as they move away, I must apologize once again for the gremlins that have been attacking the system very, very hard. Please bear with us. We are working on it and we're trying to get it sorted. And this is just one of the things when you have so much action, is there's an overload, and the gremlins see a weak link and they jump in. And once again, the buff have decided that they're definitely not hanging around anymore for the Nkuhumas to come past. They're moving right away. Eggsy, what birds are these up in the tree? Can we have a closer look? There's a whole lot of them sitting up in the tree. There could be maybe wattled starlings. I want to have a very quick look, because yesterday I very briefly saw some. No, they're not wattled starlings. follow the herd quickly. Let's keep up with them. The males have actually got their breeding colors at the moment, which is quite spectacular. They're not wattled starlings, are they? Yes, they are. They are indeed. At one point it looked like an oxpecker. Now these are beautiful birds, and we typically see them around with, and it's quite typical to see those wattled starlings following the buffalo. They sort of, like the rest of the birds, follow them around, and as they're kicking up all the insects, of course they've got a free snack. But we'll try get in front of the buffalo herd again and see if those starlings land and give us a little bit of a show. And just catch up to the buffalo. Hello. Oh, that's not good. I believe that Byron's putting on his rain covers, and we haven't felt any drips or drops just yet, but it could still be moving in. It's bizarre. It's sort of just threatening at the moment where we are. Lots of oh, that's not good. I believe that Byron's putting on his hair. Oh, here come all the starlings. So I'm just watching them as they fly over the top of me now. When you hear the thunder sort of rumble, then you should count sort of in thousands until you see a flash of lightning. Now, I don't know if this is true. Of course, this could be one of those things that fathers just tell their children. And he would say that you have to count in thousands until you see the first flash of lightning. And when you see that first flash of lightning after the first rumble, that will give you the distance in kilometers. Now, like I said, it's just fun and games, just a little joke, but I always used to listen to that. And I've just seen some more lightning as I've said that. But like I said, I think it's in the distance. I don't think it's particularly right over the top of our head. Kirsty has just told a little whisper in my ear, of course, that her dad said the same thing to her. So possibly it's true. Maybe my dad didn't tell me too many fibs growing up. He used to try and trick me all the time. That's probably why I'm was such a problem child. I'm just teasing. I wasn't too bad. Hear that thunder? It's so beautiful. I say it's beautiful now because I'm sure most of you have worked out I'm not a fan of thunder, but I've got Eggsy to keep me company, and he'll keep me safe. Hey, Eggsy. No, he says no, he's not. Oh, now I felt a little drop. The clouds look a little bit too high, so I think we'll be all right for a little bit longer. You can see, though, let's have a look at the buffalo. They've seemed to have settled down quite nicely now, even though they've just lost a member of their herd. But I think this has been happening quite often to these buffalo. Now, I'm still waiting. Kirsty, has nobody said they want to hear me sing the Nkuhuma theme song? It makes me very, very sad. We're going to quickly look and see if anybody has said. I just need one yes. That's all I need, and then you're going to hear it. Fantastic. There we go. There's a few of you now saying, right, let me just practice, get my voice ready. Are you ready, buffalo? And I apologize because it's going to be a little bit of an insult to the bus. That's all I need, and then you're going to hear it. Fantastic. There we go. There's a few of you now saying, right, let me just practice, get my voice ready. Are you ready, buffalo? And I apologize because it's going to be a little bit in buffalo. Isn't that amazing? Oh, now you don't get eaten by the Nkuhumas. Just joking. Of course I want to see them being eaten by the Nkuhumas. I want to see all those little cubs make it to adulthood. And even if that means sacrificing one or two buffalo, well then that's going to have to happen. I wonder where all the leopards are. They seem to not be playing ball. Wonder where Karula is. He's sneaky, that one. Okay, well, what we'll do is I'm going to move a little... Oh, the roadblocks that the elephants are leaving us. Look at that big one. My goodness, we'll try and sneak around it. The elephants have been having lots of fun. Oh, sorry, Eggsy, watch, that one's got nasty thorns. Dayton, I'm glad you've spotted our my little friends. Do we have one more? Oh, that was a stick. Let's have one more look at them. I actually want to introduce you to them because we've got names for them now. So let's go and have a close look at them. Now, Aren't they beautiful? Again, our moths. So the one on the left, Eggsy said that this is Sir Gregory. And obviously this is apparently a royal moth. And then we have got a moth on the right. Now there's quite a dilemma to this story. Now of course we were just chatting in between. Of course none of this is true, but I thought it made for quite a nice story. This is Ruby, the red moth. And apparently she is the long-lost daughter of the king, but she was brought up in a village just down the road. So that is the story of the moths. And Sir Gregory is actually not royalty at all. He is an imposter, which is not very good, but they seem very happy together, and I will release them when we get back to DRC, because that's where they were found. So they actually just really came on a little game drive this morning. Right, now I need to put the rain covers on Jigger to keep her out of the rain, of course. But let's go back across to Byron, who has got an elephant.
We have indeed found an elephant, and we were saying while we were driving down, remember I said we had fresh elephant dung in the tracks, and I think this is the elephant that we've been following, and we found him just off the road. We just quickly put our rain covers on, a few little drops coming through, and maybe we're lucky and we get a bit of rain. That would be fantastic. From 9 o'clock onwards, I think, after game drive. But so great to see this Ellie bull. He's been so relaxed. And very interesting to watch him feeding. Look how he uses his feet. Scrape up some sand. He may dust bathe a little bit there. Let's see what he's doing. Oh, I think he's trying to get to those roots. That's what it is. Yeah, watch that. Look at that. It's so fascinating to watch. Look how that trunk works. Yeah,